Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone that taught us this word. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across the planet Earth, pushing this truth in sincerity and in truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Barak the Yahweh, and Barak the Yahweh Shai. I just got this article out of RT, Russia Today. Basically, Trump is dishing out warnings, saying it's entitled "Trump warns Iran not to attack the U.S." But eventually that's going to happen. Eventually, America's going to get invaded. According to the scriptures. But this was dated yesterday, June 15th. It says that Tehran will face America's full strength and might if it targets the country's assets. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned Tehran of retaliation at levels never seen before if it decides to attack America in any way amid the escalation between Iran and Israel. On Saturday, Fars News Agency reported, citing a source with access to the military leadership of Tehran, that the Iranian response to the IDF's strikes on the country will spread across all areas occupied by Israel regime and related to U.S. bases in the regime in the coming days. So basically, there's a source within the military that they're planning on attacking U.S. bases in the upcoming days. Tehran's ambassador to the UN said earlier that the American support for the Western Jerusalem has made Washington complicit in the Israeli aggression. President insisted that the U.S. had nothing to do with the attack on Iran tonight, which, most likely, he's probably lying about that. Israel doesn't have the military capability to do what they did, attacking those military bases. Those were hundreds of miles inland, in the center of Iran. So it took the U.S. firepower to do that. He also urged Tehran to return to diplomacy, claiming we can easily get a deal done between Iran and Israel to end this bloody conflict. No, Lord will, this just escalates more and more. But they're talking about attacking U.S. bases, but the scriptures talk about, an invasion, I think the CIA director came out, or one of the ex-CIA directors, or someone, this woman associated with the CIA, came out and said, there's sleeper cells all throughout America, thousands and thousands of these sleeper cells that are ready to be activated. So you're gonna have a bunch of terrorist attacks in the United States, man. And we saw that a little taste of it at the beginning of the year, at the very beginning of the year, down there in New Orleans. This is from WBAL TV, W Ball. It was dated back in January 2nd, 2025. Basically was talking about that ISIS attack. What is the Islamic State group, and what attacks has it inspired? The FBI says it recovered the stark black banner of the Islamic ISIS extremist group from the truck that an American man from Texas smashed into New Year's party goers in New Orleans French Quarter, killing 14 people. Yeah, that happened at the very, very, very beginning of the year. You're on January 1st. Right now, we're only halfway through the year. It's only been a good 6 months. And look at all that's happened. It's been insane. The investigation is expected to look in part at any support or inspiration that driver may have drawn from that violent Middle Eastern based group. So there's an Islamic State. ISIS is what they're called. They're operating, within the states. So who knows? But the scriptures do talk about, land of unwalled villages. Uh, this is Ezekiel 38:10. Thus saith Lord Power. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest and dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. And it's talking about America, man. The land of unwalled villages, man. This place doesn't really have any defense systems, surrounded by water. The people are all at rest. No one's ever really seen any type of destruction or devastation that these European nations have seen throughout their history, like World War I, World War II, what's going on over there in the Middle East. Whole families getting bombed out, apartment buildings getting bombed out, kids getting dragged out of rubble. America's never seen nothing like that on a mass scale. That's why it says that dwell safely. Scripture talk about the virgin daughter of Babylon, man. That virgin daughter. Meaning this land has never been touched by outside invaders. No outside country has actually invaded this place. The closest that we got was Pearl Harbor. When Japan attacked, that military ship over there in Pearl Harbor. It's the closest thing to an outside invader, man. That's caused any type of real destruction. And you all know how America responded to that. Dropped that atomic bomb on them. They ended that war really quick. But this place is eventually going to get, invaded. You got, who knows, ISIS, sleeper cells, and various other sleeper cells, terrorist organizations, the Gurkhas that are out there, possibly UN troops, are going to carry out the will of this martial law when that gets implemented. So yeah, man, this is the land of unwalled villages, man. It says to take a spoil and to take a prey, and turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods into the midst of the land, man. Yeah, to take a spoil and a prey, man. It's gonna be a lot of blood. But as scriptures say, man, you have to, in order to cleanse the land of the blood that was shed, their blood will need to be shed. So there's a lot of bloodshed that needs to take place in this place, man, in America. Because America was built upon the blood of the Israelites, man, upon the slave laborers and death and blood of the Israelites. It's Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. The land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So yeah, you go to Nahum. So the only way to cleanse the land is to shed the blood of the ones that had shed blood, man. And this devil, he never hated blood, so blood will pursue him, as the scriptures say. This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. It says, woe to the bloody city. It's talking about America. It's full of lies and robbery. That's how this place was established. It's through blood, lies, and robbery, man. Blood being the death of the Gadites, Native Americans, the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom slavery of the Southern Kingdom, picking cotton, sugar cane, which established the GDP, established that financial base, the richest country of all countries, because of hundreds of years of free labor. Yeah, you're going to be very rich. Lies and robbery. Everything was stolen, man. Jacob is the former of all things. Everything you see here in America was established by Jake, man. But he robbed Jake. A lot of these patents, a lot of these inventions that Jake came up with was stolen. Lies. The noise of the whip, the noise of the rattling of the wheels, the prancing horses, and the jumping chariots. Yeah, he saw a vision of these different automobiles, these cars out here, man. Uh, that's the point, man. Bloody City. Jump down to verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Another name for America, that harlot, man. Sits upon that, on the beast, that harlot. The mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. That's another thing that America's built on. It's through witchcrafts, Satan worship, demons, This place is built on evil witchcraft, man. Everywhere you turn, there's some type of witchcraft that's being performed, man. Symbolism, you know. Behold, I'm against thee, saith Lord of hosts. The Lord says he's against this place, man. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame, man. So the skirts being lifted up on this place, all the wickedness, all the lies, robbery. This place is committed. It's being shown, man. The Lord is lifting up the skirt. Yeah, a lot of these talebearers, these whistleblowers are out there, blowing the lid on this place. But yeah, woe unto this bloody city. So, this place is shed blood. So the Lord's going to have to shed the blood of whom that shed it will shed. Let's read that again. In Numbers, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. For blood, it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. This is a bloody place, man. So we're saying that blood's going to rise up to the horse's bridle. That's how bad it's going to get, man. All the death that's coming to this place. It's Revelation 14:18. Another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had a sharp sickle, saying, Thrust thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Man, these people are ready out here, man. And the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Lord, the Most High. The winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs, man. So that's a metaphor of all the killing, the destruction, and the death that's going to happen in this place, man. That's how bad this place is going to be. Like a time like no other, man. To flip it to the NLT. It says the grapes were trampled in the winepress outside the city, and the blood flowed from the winepress in the stream about 180 miles long, and as high as the horse's bridle. So yeah, man, it's rivers. It's gonna pour rivers of blood, man. Metaphorically speaking, all the death that's gonna happen in this place, man. And Yahushua is gonna get his revenge, man. He's gonna get in on it. This is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Yeah, the old virgin daughter of Babylon. Meaning this place has never been touched, man, by outside invaders. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldees. Thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the milestones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. Yeah, we just read that. Nahum, man, the shame of America. I'll discover thy skirts upon her face. Back in Nahum now. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. And I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel, man. Yes, the Lord ain't coming back as a man, man. He's coming back in that angelic power with the whole host. It's like the whole host of heaven, man. All the angels, man. He's coming back. He's not going to meet thee as a man, man. You ain't going to be able to put him on no cross again, man. You ain't going to be able to shoot down a chariot. You're not going to be able to, upload a virus to a chariot, and bring down the chariot and take Yahushua captive. He's coming back in full power and great glory, man. And all eyes are going to see him. He's going to have to force these other nations to fight him, They're not going to want to willingly do it. He's going to have to put spirit on these other nations to turn around and to fight him because he wants that fight. But he's going to blast them out of the sky, to the point to where nothing was to be perceived but smoke and ashes, man. And they're going to get destroyed out here, man. These other nations are going to get, they're going to get swept. They're going to get washed. It's not even going to be a fight, man. Yeah, but then the vengeance is the Lord's, man. The Redeemer, the Savior. I'll not meet thee as a man. He says he's going to take vengeance, man. Vengeance is on his mind. That's all he thinks about, is getting that revenge. But, with that, everybody's talking big stuff. Trump warns Iran not to attack the U.S. bases. Who knows what's going to happen? We got all these sleeper cells within the states. So they may get activated this year, man. Who knows what's going to happen, man? You got Lisa LaFleur right here drawing them out. Again, Netanyahu hasn't ruled out killing Iran's supreme leader. So this guy's, they're ready for it, man. Let's see what this says. This is dated June 13th. It says Netanyahu hasn't ruled out killing Iran's supreme leader. If that had the Ayatollah, man, if that happens, it says the Israeli Prime Minister has claimed taking out the Ayatollah would end the conflict. If that happens, that's gonna, Lord will, if that happens, that's gonna escalate things even further, man. It says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told ABC News that he doesn't rule out killing Iran's supreme leader. Yeah, it's just Lisa LaFleur drawing him out, man. Starting to get this World War III popping, man. When asked about reports that U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected an Israeli plan to assassinate, Netanyahu said it's not going to escalate the conflict, it's going to end the conflict. Well, we'll see, But that Jacob's trouble, that ultimately that chip has to get passed, has to be made mandatory. But the angels are working on the minds of these different leaders, man. Waiting for the elect to be woken up. That's when it's all gonna come. That's when the elect gets woken up. With that, shalom.